If you struggle with growing onion seedlings from seed, I've been there too. And in today's video, I'm going to share with you the few simple changes I made that has allowed me to grow the most perfect onion seedlings in 3 simple tips. Tip number 1 to growing perfect onion seedlings like you see here is to start with fresh seeds. I used to struggle getting onion seeds to germinate, and my germination would be very patchy with only a few seedlings here and there for a large tray. And the reason that was happening was because onion seeds are only good for a year, and then after, germination rate dramatically drops down. Now you can use your old onion seeds if you still have them, but getting a fresh packet of onion seeds is what will give you the best results. Now you've probably been thinking since you clicked on this video that I'll watch this video but save it for next year because it's too late to start your onions. But if you stay till the end, I'll give you some actual ways that you could grow onions from seed this year so you could get some practice. The second tip to growing perfect onion seedlings is to not use seedling trays or even that much cups, but rather to instead use food containers to start your onions in. When I first started growing onions, I started off with these seed cell trays, and although they look good, that you could plant 72 onions in here and more if you plant 2 seeds per cell. That's only good on paper. In my experience, they are often big and bulky to carry around and to even fit under my grow light inside. So when compared to a food container like this is holding basically all of the onions that I would have planted in that tray. And the reason we could start our onions so densely in a container like this is because unlike your tomatoes, where the roots are very tiny and are hard to untangle once they get root bound, your onion seedlings, you do not have to rip and tear apart to get the roots. Plus, onions are not that picky either. If you disturb a little bit of their roots, they will be able to recover from that, and they do so very quickly. Just to show you how easy onion roots would come apart, these onions I'm going to plant in my greenhouse. And although there is not that many in here, I'll still show you. And when I swish it around, the roots, here they are. The onions roots are just separating easily. So easy they come apart. That's the reason I like planting a lot of onions in a small container. If you're not sold on it already, then also think about the amount you'd probably spend on seedling trays. They keep breaking the ones we get, but food containers, they're actually quite strong. And if they break, who cares? You just get a new yogurt cup or whatever you're going to use to plant your onions in. The third tip to growing the most amazing onion seedlings is to make sure your onions are growing at the right temperature. My onions originally, I would put under a fluorescent light that we had in our basement, and 2, because our basement was a heated basement, both the heat from the heat that was already in the basement and the light was causing our onions too much stress. A simple LED shop light that you could get for about 40 bucks has been the greatest investment that we made for growing better onion seedlings, because LED does not produce a lot of heat, and even with my onions touching the top of the light, they don't get stressed. And also that it so happened to be in a cooler room that my onions is getting the right temperature. A short bonus tip is that you could actually prune the top of your onions just like that as they get bigger to keep them contained and standing upright and for better growth on your onions, is what some people say. And while it won't kill your onions, I think that it doesn't really help it either. In my experience, the only thing it does is it stretches your onions out a little bit, and it'll cause your onions to grow a bit slower because you're cutting into tissue purposely. So this tip is actually not to prune your onions. Stay away from it. The only time you really want to prune it is if you want some green onions for maybe using in your cooking. You could take a little and it wouldn't hurt the plant as much. And earlier I said that I'll give you some actual ways you could grow onions from seed this time of the year. And my recommendation, since you can't really plant bulbing onions because they take 6 to 8 weeks to grow indoors, and another 8 to 10 weeks once you get them transplanted outdoors, to actually be missing the sweet spot for when onion bulbs best, and that is when daylight hours are at their longest. But there is still one onion that you can plant from seed, and that is your bunching onions. Bunching onions are just as useful in your cooking, and to start bunching onions, it doesn't get any easier. All you'd really need to do for food containers, fill it with about 2 to 3 inches of soil, and then after, sprinkle your onion seeds on top. You'll want to cover the container with a lid, which is one bonus that I find with my food container, because they actually come with lids, covering my onions while they germinated give me a higher germination rate than when I didn't. So those are the 3 simple tips to grow the perfect onion seedlings from seed. But there is an onion planting mistake that you're most likely making that will lead to smaller bulbs. So make sure you watch this video right over here to learn what the mistake is and the better way to grow onions for big bulbs every time. Goodbye!